In most cases, forgiving someone is as simple as making the decision to do so. The truth about Marcus Lamb's death was finally revealed by Joanie Lamb after years of silence, which caught everyone off guard. For years, only the official version of events was communicated. However, recent revelations have revealed shocking new details that may alter the course of events. Why did he choose to reveal it at this moment, and what was he trying to conceal? Joanie Lamb is the center of attention as news spreads. How did she immediately feel? What did she feel? Shock, anger, or something else entirely? Marcus Lamb's legacy is uncertain, and the once uniformed Lamb family is now the subject of much speculation. Is everyone prepared to hear the truth now that it has been revealed? My soulmate and Daystar's president and founder passed away at 4 o'clock this morning. For a while, everyone assumed that the death of Marcus Lamb was sad but par for the course. But rumors of something far worse have been circulating for some time now. Was his death more complicated than what was reported? Why was the truth only revealed now, if that's the case? Daystar TV viewers and members of the Lamb family were taken aback by Joanie Lamb's recent comments. After all this time, what was he actually trying to conceal? Things are already strange, but his decision to speak out of the blue makes them even stranger. He couldn't keep his secret any longer. Or was he coerced into disclosing information that influential individuals preferred to keep secret? The exact moment of Marcus Lamb's demise remains a mystery. Despite official claims that it is related to COVID-19 issues, some remain skeptical due to problems with the dissemination of information. Did his condition really worsen than anticipated? Rumor has it that behind closed doors, plotters were trying to shape the narrative in a way that would make it more palatable. And then there's the matter of authority. Speaking was just one of Marcus Lamb's many talents. Along with his leadership roles and business acumen, he was a prominent figure in religious media. Had there been additional circumstances surrounding his demise? Opinions vary as to whether external forces were involved or whether deeper issues existed within the network. Perhaps he was the target of malicious intent due to his outspokenness and large fan base. By the way, Joanie Lamb said what? Observant onlookers noted that she managed her public speech well. Was more happening behind the scenes, though? When Joanie Lamb spoke up, according to those who were there, the whole situation changed. Did she anticipate this information's eventual disclosure, or was she caught unawares? Perhaps there is something much more significant occurring behind her reserved demeanor. The fact that there are so many unanswered questions means that this story is far from over. There are some unanswered questions, and as more details emerge, the true cause of Marcus Lamb's death might be considerably stranger than initially believed. I was caring for Marcus on my last night with him in the hospital. She glanced at me in this dimly lit room at about 3 in the morning. She stated, "Look what you have done to this family. I communicated with my mother. I can't do this anymore. I told God, you feel the pain of my heart? You're ruining this family." And I said, "I know, my God, you're protecting me. You'll get me out of here." That was the end of my life. The following day, he dies. The journey that Marcus Lamb took was unique. Despite his humble beginnings, he rose to prominence as a leading preacher of his day. His influence on contemporary Christian television and radio was immense and unfathomable. The most significant aspect of his legacy would be his marriage, which lay hidden behind the public image of faith, family, and success. His story was one of desire, hardship, and marriage. The early years of Lamb's life were defined by his unwavering faith. He was born in Georgia in 1957. His reputation as an accomplished orator preceded him as he entered the ministry at an early age. He had already achieved fame by the time he was a young man. He traveled the nation as a preacher, captivating audiences with his stirring sermons. However, 1982 was a turning point. Joanie was the person he met. Joanie Trammell was more than just another Christian. She embodied his passion, his mission, and his steadfast commitment to spreading the gospel. It didn't take long for them to realize they were meant to spend eternity together. They clicked immediately. In 1984, they tied the knot. What started as a romantic partnership soon blossomed into a powerhouse in the Christian media industry. Because we are going to open up to you about our feelings, today's show is going to be extra special. Please know that my wife and I are stronger than ever before, and that I think our marriage is stronger than it has ever been before we begin. Because you are an angel, I have fallen madly in love with you. You mean the world to me. However, there is something I must convey to you. Marcus and I had a difficult time getting married a few years back. I discovered that he was involved in an unhealthy emotional relationship when I learned about it. Daystar Television Network was co-founded by Marcus and Joanie. From humble beginnings, it has blossomed into one of the most prominent Christian television networks globally. Unlike other televangelists, Lamb understood the potential of media to reach millions of people beyond the confines of the church. Together with Joanie, they created a platform that spread their message of faith and prosperity to people around the globe. Their union was the glue that kept Daystar together. It was a love story beyond compare. Joanie Marcus was a prominent figure on the network, in addition to being her husband's co-host and business partner. It was hard to ignore the strong sense of unity and authority emanating from their on-screen chemistry. It appeared as though they were actually practicing what they preached about rather than merely talking about it. Their marriage and faith were tested by the difficult times that the couple endured together. They risked losing everything they had worked for when Marcus publicly admitted to having an affair in 2010. Their carefully crafted image was rocked to its foundation by the news, which shocked their fans even more. In the face of adversity, Marcus and Joanie did the unthinkable. They tackled the issue directly. They shared their story of surviving the betrayal and deciding to fight for their marriage in front of their church. Their public reconciliation served as evidence that broken things can be restored through God. Some found it uplifting because it showed how people can grow and change. Some were left wondering about the true nature of what transpired behind closed doors. Daystar continued to expand, and Marcus maintained his position as a prominent figure in televangelism, despite the challenges. Even among non-Christians, he made an impression. Frequently contradicting popular opinion, he voiced his opinions on social and political issues. His daring earned him both loyal fans and scathing detractors. Because of this, he became an infamously divisive yet powerful figure. At that point, the tide turned. Word spread in 2021 that Marcus Lamb had passed away. Although official reports indicated issues with COVID-19, rumors started circulating later on. Did his death involve more details than what was reported in the media? Had his influence been more than met, or had secrets been revealed only now? Over many years, Marcus and Joanie had amassed a kingdom. After Marcus left, what would become of it? Now that Joanie is in charge of Daystar, she is burdened by both the past and the future of the network. The stakes are higher than they have ever been, and her decisions now will determine whether the strength they gained as a couple remains intact or if their marriage crumbles. The telethon is broadcast semi-annually. I believe it's called Heart for the World, and it's filled with booths and phone lines. Hundreds of people spend their days there, doing nothing more than answering calls. Prayer was overseen by those who took calls throughout the ton. Everyone in the office had to have their phones charged every time someone called to donate. It happened every once in a while. So it was definitely one of those instances. Suddenly my phone started ringing and the volume of calls was through the roof. It was this lovely little elderly woman who answered when I called. She's sobbing and telling me she's broke and owes everyone everything. The little amount she has left on her credit card will be donated to Daystar, as she heard on the show that if you give $1,000 0 cents today, God will give you $10 0 cents back. There are no words to adequately convey the depth of my misery at that moment. Something felt terribly off, and that was the first time I paused to ask, do I want to be a part of this? I then ran that card number. For many years, the Lamb family served as an example of perseverance, unity, and faith in the Christian television community. Daystar was founded by Marcus and Joanie Lamb, who demonstrated a solid marriage and a shared mission to spread the word. A darker reality, though, was coming to light behind the carefully scripted sermons, public displays of affection, and TV smiles, a reality that Jonathan Lamb had been trying to evade for years. As a young boy, Jonathan held his father in high esteem. He was a devout preacher who led by example, and despite the challenges of ruling an empire, he managed to keep the family united. Having said that, his eyesight improved with age. The rumors, which he had previously dismissed as unfounded, now demanded his attention. Behind closed doors, he witnessed Joanie's work and her conversations with Marcus. She clearly had a firm yet tender grip on him. One thing should be considered at all times when planning for Daystar's future. A cloud from God is the subject. The heavenly host is a symbol of God's omnipresence and mighty power. So submit to the Holy Spirit's guiding in all your ways of thinking and doing if you desire the gift to endure in your life, marriage, family, and Daystar. Everything began with a few minor details. Even in meetings, Jonathan could hear his mother voicing his father's opinions while he remained silent. All decisions were influenced by this. It was her word or no word, and Marcus had to follow it. In public, she would follow him around, but when they were alone, she would exert complete control. She was very intelligent, perhaps too intelligent. There were early warning signals of marital weakness, but the flaws were constantly masked with public declarations of love and fake smiles. The arguments and the late hours spent in Marcus's office, where he was either too exhausted or unwilling to fight back, were fresh in Jonathan's memory. The love he had for his wife was a hindrance, though. Joanie gave them all the inside scoop on who to hang out with, how to manage the network, and where their money could go. It felt more like a nation, and Joanie was its true leader. However, Jonathan's trust in his mother was permanently shattered the night he learnt she had betrayed him. Rumors about Joanie's true character as a devoted wife had long circulated. Jonathan first dismissed them as idle chatter. Even though she could be crafty and bossy at times, Marcus's mother would never betray him. Could she? A fateful evening altered everything. Jonathan dropped off a paper for the network at his mom's place of employment. Nothing that could suggest guilt was what he was seeking. He seemed perfectly normal. His decision to take up her phone, which she had carelessly left on her desk without locking it, caused everything to fall apart. A man he'd seen on TV for years had sent him a message. He was excessively close to his mum and their business from the start. Although brief, the letter contained everything that Jonathan had been attempting to conceal for quite some time. This wasn't your average night on the town. Her words, "I miss you, when will I see you again?" caught him off guard. Something more profound was occurring here. Jonathan informed his mum about it that very night. Anything could happen. He was prepared to be rejected, to apologize, or even to cry. That being said, Joanie remained intact. She remained perfectly still. Her expressionless face betrayed her words. "You don't understand. I did what I had to do." He carried those words around with him for a long time. "Because I knew exactly what to do, I said, I did what I had to do. Not, I'm sorry, or it was a mistake. First, you should get a letter from Daystar explaining the situation. Will you accompany me? Can you grasp it? You are off today. Tomorrow you are free to do as you like until 3 o'clock. You should return to Arnold's office and review it once more before signing it. We are also bound to comply with it once you sign it. Your position as an officer and board member at Daystar will be terminated unless you sign this document." Marcus was there, but he didn't hear a thing. The thought of telling him would never cross Jonathan's mind. After witnessing the extent to which Joanie sapped his father's spirit, he would have been killed by the truth. Instead, Jonathan was unable to do anything but observe his mother's portrayal of the ideal wife. The devoted woman who stood by Marcus's side, grasped his hand, and dried her eyes whenever the cameras were rolling. When Marcus fell ill, he could have finally escaped. "Oh, how I am grateful to you, Lord, for blessing my life, Joan's life, and our family's life with Jonathan. As a young Christian, he has been an excellent son. You guided him correctly, looked after him, and kept him safe. You have my gratitude. You have my gratitude for entrusting Susie to him, Lord. Here are these two adorable grandkids, Lord. Plus, Lord, I see great things in Jonathan's future. May he be led by your Holy Spirit, I pray daily. Let him see how to observe, hear, and absorb information. Assist him in being a better follower of Christ. May his relationships with you, Susie, and his children be strong, almighty, and most importantly, almighty with his offspring. Realize how much you desire it. Jesus Christ, I thank you. The sickness seemed manageable at first, just another issue to sort out. However, Jonathan began to suspect something was amiss as the weeks passed. It appeared as though Joanie had planned every detail of his father's care and had a firm grasp on the situation. As Marcus's situation deteriorated, Joanie was the first to seize control of the narrative, manipulating the public into believing her version of events. Marcus departed thereafter. The passing of a loved one should have brought the entire family closer together in sorrow. Yet Joanie wasted no time in attempting to alter history. She penned all of the press releases and statements, and she took great care to erase any trace of Marcus or her involvement. As Jonathan watched, he was horrified to see how she rewrote the story to cover up the shortcomings of their marriage. That was our sole action. Despite everything that had happened, I had a strong sense from the Lord that I should remain steadfast in the role that God had appointed me to. As we do not feel safe at home, Susie and I are not letting anyone know where we are at the moment. Rest assured, Julie Roy is not the only one who has received the proof. Some stories that are expected to make headlines soon should be discussed by this afternoon. No one told us this would be our permanent home. Even though we pleaded with God for months to change our course, we must now proceed. You know what? You have to speak, he says, making things more difficult in the long run. When he says, I'm calling you to do this, we feel obligated to follow through. He has guided us through the storms and brought us calm in the end. I want to rally behind you because I know that even in the midst of adversity, God can see the forest for the tree. As long as we adhere to his regulations, fight for justice, and speak the truth, he will lead us. My gut tells me he will. The journey has still been challenging, so we could use your opinions anyhow. Much obliged. Truthfully, it has been an extended period of hardship. Following God's will hasn't been easy, but we've persevered. Even before Marcus was laid to rest, Joanie was consolidating her control over Daystar, enhancing her power, and establishing herself as the network's new public face. She inherited not only his reputation, but also his following and business. Because of it, Jonathan disliked her. She had already murdered his father before he was even born. She concocted an outright falsehood that Marcus bought into all the way to the finish. There was no monarch to govern her as Queen of Daystar. Lies formed the foundation of the nation. But Jonathan was aware of reality. Someday the truth would emerge from Joanie's past, regardless of how skillfully she concealed it or reshaped the narrative.